The Parliament Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training has expressed shock at squatting in institutions of higher learning. At tertiary institutions, squatting is a term generally used to mean the phenomenon of students illegally sharing rooms. The committee visited various universities and TVET colleges in the Eastern Cape, where the student accommodation was identified as a challenge, particularly at Walter Sisulu University.
A week before tertiary institutions open, accommodation for most students is still a big challenge. The Walter Sisulu University in Mthatha has not escaped the issue, something discovered by the Parliament Committee on Higher Education and Oversight Committee. Sharing a room has become common.
The statistics have shown that the institution have about 14,000 students who are registered, and the accommodation that we have, including inside and outside accommodation, it can accommodate about 2,000 students. So that results in many students to squat with one another.
By them coming here to study, they are trying to make a living, to improve the situation they are living under at home. And so they come here to study. So that leads to where you'll find when they are here in the university, they do not have accommodation, they suffer.
But the SRC thinks a solution could be found.
What we think can be the best solution as a short-term process now is that university must go out and scout for private accommodations. All that can be available and meeting the minimum standard and norms as set out in the TVET Act in terms of the accommodation. We are not comfortable in terms of how the rooms have been scouted so far. We don't think university has done enough.
The university says squatting has financial implications for the institution.
We'll be building 2 additional residences at the Mthatha and Butterworth campus from the funds that we receive from the Department of Higher Education and Training. Construction will start later this year once we have concluded all of the procurement processes. We also are struggling with the student debt, which at the moment sits at over 800 million rand. And since this fees must fall movement, we've seen a greater resistance from students to pay their fees.
The institution has called on former and current students owing to pay their debts. I'm Atule Joga, SABC News, Mthatha.
Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says a few glitches, all public education systems are up and running. Admissions remain a thorny issue at schools, including Hoërskool Offerval in Vereeniging, where the school did not admit 55 English-speaking pupils. Motshekga told a media briefing that she's confident that the school and the Basic Education Department will soon reach out to an out-of-court settlement.
The 2018 school year started 2 weeks ago. The national minister has been to some schools and is happy with how they've kicked off the academic year. But it's not been all plain sailing. Tensions at Hoërskool Offerval over the exclusion of 55 English-speaking learners, a delicate issue for the Basic Education Department in Gauteng. Motshekga would have preferred to stay out of the dispute, but the school added her as a respondent in court papers they filed.
I went to the school to really appeal to both, to the province and the school, to say to the STB, let's deal with the issues that are raised by the judge and let's not take them out of context. He's raising administrative issues, let's deal with administrative issues and not politicize administrative issues.
And on the future of Afrikaans in public schools, Motshekga says there's a place for everyone in the country.
There are more people who are not white who speak Afrikaans. The entire colored population speaks Afrikaans. So you can't just think a language that belongs to such a big group of people cannot be anything. And the advantage that Afrikaans has as compared to other African languages, there's been lots of investment in those languages and don't want to throw that investment away.
Motshekga also wants intervention on teachers who engage in sexual activity with learners.
About 7,500 learners remain unplaced nationally, excluding the Western Cape, which is yet to provide their figures. But earlier this month, the province had about 11,000 unplaced learners. Basic Education says they're working around the clock to ensure that all learners are placed and that resources and textbooks are delivered on time. Patricia Fasachi, SABC News in Pretoria.
Over 40 previously disadvantaged village students from villages, townships and small dorpies in the northwest are hoping to take to the skies. They've been granted an opportunity to further their technical and aviation skills at a technical college in Gauteng.
Northwest pioneers, the first from the province to be sent off to receive training in aviation and technical skills in the big city. They will qualify as artisans in aircraft mechanics, welder, fitter and turner, and electrical engineering. Dipuo Dipoko is excited about the opportunity, which will allow her to break into a male-dominated sector. She says studying with Denel is going to give her a lot of opportunities because a lot of women are not involved in fitting and turning. So she's very proud and will be able to work with bigger companies and even start her own company.
I can even start my own company.
They will venture into fields with scarce skills, most of which are not available in the province.
It's very difficult to find a job opportunity while you don't have experience. So Denel is going to offer me the experience that I need.
It has arrived at the right time because I was going to venture to my third year in mechanical engineering and I wanted to be employed in Denel.
With the Mahikeng airport now fully operational, the next prospect is for the establishment of a technical academy to boost the aviation sector in the province.
It also means that as we develop our airports like the Pilanesberg airport, the Mahikeng airport, which is now going to become Dikmunsiwa airport, we will have people who can contribute in terms of management, in terms of flying aeroplanes, in terms of repairing aeroplanes, in terms of servicing them.
Upon finishing their theoretical training, students will complete their practical training at the Mahikeng airport. Sintle Indihihi, SABC News, Muruleng near Rustenburg.